Old Matt Walsh clip resurfaces and goes viral on X in light of the recent onslaught of attacks from Candace Owens towards Erika Kirk. If you haven't been keeping up, Candace Owens has been on a tear and slightly escalating her allegations that Turning Point and Erika Kirk are involved in the plot that tragically took out Charlie Kirk. We covered this yesterday about her now actually saying that like she thinks Erika Kirk needs to be investigated by police, which has been a pretty crazy escalation and a complete flip-flop of her saying she would stop if Erika Kirk told her to stop. Well, Erika Kirk told her to stop. Of course, Candace Owens didn't stop. And by the way, all of this is done in the name of the Lord. Okay, so Candace Owens is saying it's God's platform that she uses, and if everybody would just come clean, then she would retire from podcasting. Okay, so that's where we're at. We have Zach with us today as well. All right,
that's it. This is crazy.
And it was clear to me then, and has become all the more clear to me since, as I've gotten to know her more, that this is somebody with an immense amount of strength and courage. So when people look at Erika and say she's acting strange, I've never seen a grieving person act this way. Well, I agree. She's an exceptional person in an extraordinary situation, handling it with remarkable poise and dignity. That is a virtue, and virtue is a strange thing in our day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Erika Kirk has been doing an awesome job. You know, a couple folks got mad at me for being a little critical of the Turning Point Super Bowl show.
Yep.
But I think generally speaking, the folks over at Turning Point doing a good job. I think Erika is generally doing a good job and stepping up and driving Turning Point where I think Charlie would have wanted it. And I think that's a huge indicator of like the type of person she is, right?
Yeah.
And even if she were not an impressive person, she would still be a grieving widow.
Mm-hmm.
She would still be my friend's wife. And I would still feel duty-bound to support her, as I have over these past 3 months in ways both public and not. So what I am asking everybody, including Candace, is to please leave this woman alone.
Okay. There it is.
There it is.
And now Candace is going to stop.
Grieve. Let her pick up the pieces of her shattered life in whatever way she sees fit.
Yep.
She deserves that grace. And we owe it to her. Not because of any specific debt, not because we have no right to question her. Of course, we do have the right. But we have a moral obligation as children of our Heavenly Father to be charitable and kind towards suffering widows, especially the widow of a man that all of us on the right say that we respected and admired.
There's a suspect. He's in custody. There's an entire trial that's coming up. No one in that trial and no one in that actual situation is taking anything you're saying seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe you should stop. The elephant's got more outlandish with the claims, which we're going to get into in a second. Because now
the elephant got tattoos.
It got wild.
All told, the tragic reality is that 3 months after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the leftists who want us dead are more emboldened than ever. They are thrilled. And that was always the worst possible outcome. It's a trajectory that, if it continues, could destroy not only what Charlie built, but also what's left of the conservative movement. A movement that is the only thing standing between Western civilization and the forces that wish to tear it down brick by brick.
Okay. I disagree with this premise.
Okay.
I think back when I was a Matt Walsh watcher before he did the whole Nick Fuentes grift, right before Nick Fuentes got everybody on board.
Hold on. You can't just say that and move on. Are you talking about like the kind of some of the race realist stuff?
Yeah. It was, I forget what happened, but it was like an extreme take. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I can't.
It was the grocery store take.
It was the grocery store take.
Yeah, it was the grocery store take. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. If you know, 2 guys are standing behind you in a grocery store, one's white, one is black. Which one's going to be more likely to kill you, right? And it's like, well, which neighborhood? What are they wearing? Yeah. Does the white guy have face tattoos and a Hell's Angel jacket?
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of variables.
Does he got the drooped in eyes? Like, there's so many questions to ask. But anyway, we diverge. So you're saying.
I stopped watching him after that.
No. Because you're saying that's a bold claim that you're making. You're saying that he got on the Nick Fuentes train, which is kind of, you know, some of my political connects may feel a way about that take. So,
well, I don't know. I know the Nick Fuentes take started really blowing up a little bit after that, and some other people clinged to that. And I don't know if Matt Walsh. I just stopped following because, but it was essentially the same thing. It was essentially
maybe a little bit of audience capture on the right.
Yeah.
To not understand the actual data that, you know, less than 1% of black men commit all the crimes.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a tiny percentage of the, and when you exaggerate that and you say stuff like, like he says, you diminish the image bearers
Exactly.
that all people are,
Yes.
white men, black men, all men, and not trying to say these people are more violent and more likely to attack you, right?
Yes.
So yes, I'm with you. I just wanted you to clean that up.
Yeah,
'cause
I clarified it.
Go ahead.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Fair enough. But I think I reject the premise now that this is a movement on the right and we need to stick together and they're going to destroy our right wing movement from within.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really know if there is a movement. Like,
Well, it's fragmented now for sure since the passing of Charlie Kirk. Many people would argue a Charlie Kirk, a Dennis Prager, maybe a Jordan Peterson. I don't know how much Jordan Peterson was into coalition building because he's from Canada.
Yeah.
But those three have been out most of the year.
Yeah,
right.
and they
Jordan
were
Peterson
big.
got sick in the summertime. I think Dennis Prager had his accident. So we're talking about right wing figures. Those people glued this coalition together. And since
lost two of our elders in a sense.
since they're not around,
Yeah.
there's probably more. It's more of a disjointed movement. I have thoughts on this, but
but I also think I'm taking a slightly more sinister take as well, which is like Trump fumbling a bunch of stuff, everything being in disarray and just kind of being and not being what he said it was going to be.
Yes.
And then just being like, are the elites really allowing the world leader to be decided by a couple small counties in Pennsylvania?
yeah,
I'm like, is there a right wing movement, or is it just a bunch of people complaining on a microphone?
So this is what I would say, and I would say I understand what Matt is saying. I generally agree that the rising of the right was what has kept much of the lunacy on the far left at bay.
Okay.
Whether that's mass immigration and catch and release policies in America versus catch and release in Mexico, whether that's the crazy Transformer stuff, whether that's the all-out American hatred that is found on many universities. I think those are all real issues that are trying to destroy America. Here's what I will say, because those are real issues, and this is going to be a crazy hot take.
Okay.
And people are going to be like, why are you political? Because politics is a downstream of culture. So this stuff was already here. Nick Fuentes was already here. The Candace Owens type of thinking was already here. It's just now made its way into politics. Here's what I think. I think because it's an actual threat, and I think he really believes that. To what degree? I don't think it's like the average normie that's walking around that voted for Biden and Harris. I don't think it's that person. But from an institutional level, I do think it's a real threat, not necessarily intentional. Like, I don't think Gavin Newsom is intentionally harboring stupid and incompetent policies that hurt the cost of living, that actually do more harm than good in terms of the economy, that, homelessness issues. Like, that he does so many things stupid. I don't think it's intentional.
Yeah.
I think they mean well on the left, but the downstream effects of it are generally bad. And because that's true, there is a pragmaticism that's crept in on the far right where we're going to look the other way when the president tells you that the Epstein files are a big hoax and there's nothing to see here and it's a Democratic hoax.
Yeah.
And then there seems to be redacting of the actual names that everybody wanted to see. Who were the co-conspirators? Who was involved in this thing?
Yeah.
Versus leaking the names of the victims.
Yes.
There's a man, we just got to get in line and support the movement.
Yeah.
And I'm not a movement guy like that. Like, I'm a Jesus movement before I'm any ideological political movement. I love Western civilization. I think the downstream effects of Christianity are a Western society.
Yeah.
However, right is right and wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to call that out. And I'm more driven by a top-down approach of Jesus than I am of a right or left approach, even though I am on the right and I have no qualms about that.
Okay, so it's almost like, if the elites, are rocking with the PDF files and protecting everybody and like, well, we can't because the
it's too, I think what they think is it's too delicate and too interconnected.
It's too delicate and too interconnected. So whatever, we'll protect that. My whole position was, well, if they're protecting that, then how much more important is like the world leader position? How much more corrupt could it get, right? Mm-hmm. But what you're saying, and brownie points to the right wing movement would be, hey, if the elites are crazy, at least we can influence culture and make sure that people that we're doing day to day with that are also making some more micro decisions are thinking through this with a clear lens, which has helped shift the culture, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Away from some of this left wing lunacy. But now that we're here, you know, and Trump's in office, and we've kind of crossed that bridge where some of that left wing lunacy is gone, it feels a little bit more like a right wing economy than a movement. Where everyone's breaking off. Like Candace is like, okay, I think I'll do this Charlie Kirk thing, and then I don't know what Matt Walsh has been up to for the past year, but yeah, I think I don't know what he's been up to, but like everyone's doing. The Fuentes is like, I think we'll just do like this white people thing, or cultures thing. To be fair, and so like everyone breaks off and is doing their weirdo kind of economy thing, and it's not really like a movement. It's not really going towards something, and so this desperation that Matt Walsh even talks about in this is like this like. They're dividing our right-wing movement. It's like, dude, it's not that serious. Yeah.
Well, again, as a kingdom person, Galatians 5:9 says, a little yeast leavens the whole batch of dough.
Come on.
And so to me, I don't think you allow the crazies to creep in.
Yeah.
Or the racists to creep in, or the authoritarians to creep in, or the whoever, the PDF files to creep in and to act like it's all good. And I think that therein lies, like, in my opinion, an inconsistency and unjust scales. Or a little bit of bad music on a Super Bowl show to creep in, right? And pretend like it's good. And by bad, I mean content. And I know the people at Turning Point really worked really hard on that. And I know some of them watch my channel, and I know that was a big sacrifice. And I know you guys did want Christian artists to be a part of it. But drink my beer and drive my truck. I'm not gonna pretend to like it.
With like 60 seconds of like classical music.
Yeah,
which was the worst.
Classical music was cool.
Yeah. But not that one.
Yeah. And I did like him coming out under his government name, Kid Rock coming out under his government name to illustrate a metamorphosis and change of him growing closer to Christ. This is what it was supposed to communicate.
What's his government name? I
don't remember. But I just think if
we still call him Kid Rock.
We still call him Kid Rock.
Failed.
I think he could just be more clear on that. I think that could be more clear. Like I think if you replace Kid Rock with any rapper, like a 50 Cent, who has some right-wing leanings, right-wing leanings, did the same thing, there would be more of an expectation of like, hey, bro, you did In the Club. You could find me in the club, bottle for the bub, mama, I got that X if you're into making love, right? Like,
crazy.
He's talking about ecstasy on it. Like, I think if someone did the same thing with a 50 Cent, we would expect there to be a clear, guys, I've repented. I no longer agree with the stuff that I said on this song 20 years ago. I think that would be reasonable. But anyway, let's get back to Matt Walsh. We just went on a wild goose chase.
Well, to bring it all back to the point, Matt Walsh is, his whole claim is Candace needs to stop because he's grasping for straws for this right-wing movement that I kind of derailed us, but to talk about, like, I don't even know if it really exists in the capacity that he wishes it would. And on the cherry on top of that is like, shocker, he thinks Candace Owens should stop, just like most of the other sane people in the space.
That's the reason sociopaths like Tyler Robinson are smiling right now. They know they're winning.
Yeah.
And we cannot let them, which means we all must return to the facts, to the truth, and our defense of it, which is the mission that Charlie lived for and died for. We cannot let it die with him.
I agree with him. I think that the deeper issue, though, that I think is going to be hard to acknowledge is what is even reality, and how do people even come to know what is true at all when the things are so fragmented and we can't even have reasonable conversations about anything, and there's no enemies to my right. That's a lot of this paradigm. I can't criticize anybody on the right.
Yeah.
Because we have this delicate coalition that has to be together. It's like, no, man. If you're a follower of Jesus before you're right wing, before you're conservative, before you're Republican, before you're MAGA, you have to call balls and strikes.
Yeah.
You have to. I said something a week after this whole thing happened and called out Candace Owens to the dismay of much of my own audience and to mass criticism. And I feel like I was one of the first people that was saying anything. It was like me, and I think Brandon Tatum said something after that. So Candace Owens, additional meltdowns, and it's just getting worse and worse because now, and again, big shout out to Milk Bar TV for doing all the heavy lifting for us. She did this whole Blue's Clues thing, which I reacted to yesterday, but now she's claiming that they had an argument the night before.
Oh my goodness. This is like Dateline.
This is insane. Go ahead.
Little did he know there was a massive blowout argument the night before.
Go ahead.
when I take out my handy dandy notebook and I put a picture together using basic logic and not trying to look at all of these different directions and all of these possibilities, I know there's that one kid in the back of the class and you say, well, what do these clues tell you? And he raises his hand and he says, it tells me that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie. He acted alone on top of a rooftop. But that kid would be an idiot, actually. That could be an idiot because the picture of that is starting.
Not a great teacher.
Yeah. So what she's getting at is like, hey, all the forensic evidence, all the video evidence, the fact that his own parents turned him in, all of this, if you believe all of this to be true, the fact that he was dating a transferee boyfriend, that they were living together, that he thought Charlie Kirk was hateful for his position on the trans issue, which in my opinion is a direct downstream effect of Charlie's biblical worldview, of Charlie being close to folks like Frank Turek, of Charlie being close to pastors. All of that is, you're an idiot if you believe that.
That's crazy.
Like that's really what she's saying. Now that's not even the worst part. The worst part is what she's about to say about Erika.
To emerge is that Charlie's last day consisted of a lot of arguments. Okay, arguments over his shifting away from the pro-Israel position, him communicating to people that he was over it, that he did not want the money, him communicating to people that he wanted to bring me back to AmFest. He was very clear in telling people that on the 9th, the day before he died. And when I look at the fact that Erika's unable to account for what happened the night before, and she's kind of cagey and answering, and she's giving us more about how Gigi sleeps and moves in bed than she is about what Charlie was doing, other than getting a snack, I feel, and I could be wrong, that there was a knock 'em dead argument that happened.
Even if I were to grant all of that, even if I were to grant Charlie was shifting on Israel, which I don't think he was. I think he had an issue with a couple donors and vented about it in a group text that was supposed to be private, something a lot of people do. Right, I don't recommend venting over text in general, but we all have people in our life that we could just kind of vent to. I kind of did it earlier, you guys, right? That I would never say
not over
publicly.
text.
Not over text. There's no documentation of it.
No files,
right? But even if I were to grant that, let's just say, even if I were to grant that he rejected whatever this number that she came out with and flip-flopped and 150 million that Israel was going to give him, which apparently is not true, and I haven't seen anything special. Even if I were to, for her to then say, I can be wrong, but I feel, and then speak on another man's marriage, and his widow,
that's gross.
Candace Owens stands. Like, you got to just pause for a second and just say, how is that not utterly repulsive to just say as a sensible human?
Yeah, just like complete speculation into a little scenario. It's not even like a big concept, like he's part of the X-Men school. Yeah. Like this like big macro concept about his life that we didn't know. It's like this tiny little, I think there was a big argument. And then so then she hit up all of her Jewish connects to get snipers on the roof in 18 hours.
Yeah, it's
like, what, dude? Like, wasn't her whole claim that you can't throw an event this fast?
Yeah. Yeah,
but our whole claim is the night before they got in a big argument, and so then that's when the decision was to kill him?
I don't know. I don't know when his decision was.
I don't know.
But she's just asking questions, and she's doing, the frustrating part for me is that she's doing it all in the name of God.
Yuck.
She said on the video we looked at yesterday, this is God's platform. This is God's platform. And if everyone was just to admit that they were in on it, then she would retire from podcasting.
Okay.
Just admit her delusion, she would retire. Okay, go ahead.
That's what makes logical sense to me about what I don't know. That's what makes sense. Because they have not been honest in their portrayal about what the relationship was. And I will leave it at that. This like idea of this amazing godly relationship with that is not accurate. And it would not have been relevant if Erika had kept it honest.
Whoa, hold on. She just said that they didn't have a godly marriage. The portrayal of it was not accurate.
That's crazy. That's a crazy take.
This entire process, but she's not. She's getting caught in a lot of lies. And when I go back and I revisit the way she tells the lies, I feel very strange about it.
Well, I'm glad she feels strange about it.
Yeah. So that's where we are, folks. But hey, listen.
Please disclose all of your marital arguments to Candace Owens. Otherwise, you might be a murderer.
It's so bad. But props to Matt Walsh for finally saying something.
Come on, somebody.
For finally saying something. I know there's other folks over there that have strong feelings about it, but have, I'll just say, unique relationships in these circles, and that makes things complicated. I know there's other folks who have said something about it. Ben Shapiro has been pretty consistent. Man, props to Matt Walsh for saying something. Like, that's a good thing. The fact that it wasn't as soon as I think it should have been, or it wasn't perfect, I think is good, and I think it's commendable. And I think Candace is on a sick one and needs to be utterly rebuked. And speaking of being on a sick one and needing to be utterly rebuked, Massey and Bondi have shocking fight as he accuses her of Epstein file cover-up. Okay, so Pam Bondi, who's the Attorney General, had a historic crash out yesterday in light of the Epstein files. And we kind of alluded to some of this stuff earlier, but let's just jump right into it.
Is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact. A list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally,
That's really...
There's an email that goes out with the victims that were trafficked, and the DOJ releases the names, the email in the name, and then redacts the co-conspirators. And you know there's co-conspirators that are coming out now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, one of them is like a Saudi prince. One of them is the former owner of Victoria's Secret, I think.
Big shocker.
Yeah, go ahead.
thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known.
Yeah.
And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name.
When you outsource the Epstein files to your VA in the Philippines.
Oh my God.
And you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you.
This is crazy.
That was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The
crazy.
title of this one is child trafficking, co-conspirators, fully redacted.
This is who they were supposed to release. The whole question is, was there a list of people he was blackmailing, and were there co-conspirators?
Yeah.
They have not, they've provided that, but redacted it. And this is because Congress has finally moved it up. And this is not a right versus left thing. Like, this shouldn't be a right versus left thing.
Not at all.
And folks on the right not talking about this are goofy to me.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, where are the just scales? Right?
If it's 50% right wing important people, 50% left wing important people, they should all be gone.
Yep.
They should be scrapped. The argument is, well, they can't do that because the Americas would collapse. It's like, bro, how did America start?
Yeah.
With a bunch of civilians that were like, we should probably figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're far enough along where there's some smart guy that's not like high up and being touched by whatever dark entities are at the top.
Yep.
That could just be like, there's a group of those people that can be like, yeah, we can step in and figure this out. And
Yep.
like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but goodness gracious. Yeah, it's definitely not right or left.
Go ahead.
By the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy.
So Lex Wexner, I believe, is the CEO of Victoria's Secret.
Who's this lady he just revealed too?
I don't remember.
He did this crazy reveal and didn't tell us
Yeah,
who she
his
was.
reveals are on point.
Yeah.
With this, by the way, he's killing. And I want to say this dude,
This is like seventh grade
Massey,
school
is
project.
a Republican. So
Okay, yeah.
this is a bipartisan effort. Go ahead.
He's cooking.
Attorney General, said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files. But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need, that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times. I
already told you that. This is where he's listed as a
Can I
co-conspirator.
finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr. Chairman. This is how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my
Can I
time.
give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that? It's a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
So she starts attacking him personally. The Department of Justice, including the federal investigation and the United States Attorney General that relate to Jeffrey Epstein, including all investigations, prosecutions, or custodial matters. And at the very bottom, it's highlighted, including emails, memos, meetings. So they were supposed to release everybody that was involved in this.
Yep.
They kept releasing redacted versions, which means they're blacked out.
Yes.
They're caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Right? And so either they're intentionally withholding information, but at this point, everybody knows this other guy, Wexner, Victoria's Secret CEO from Ohio. They've been talking about the Saudi prince that was involved. So either they're knowing and they're withholding, or this is like the next level of incompetence I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is incredible. And to be fair, the Biden administration didn't do anything about this.
Yeah.
He was arrested and self-deleted himself under Trump. They didn't do anything about this, probably because it was also COVID, to be fair.
Yeah.
And CoffeeZilla talked about this. There was a video of leaking of the fact that Trump did call the local Palm Beach Police Department and say like, hey, I'm glad you guys arrested him. He's a really bad guy. Maxwell's even worse, right?
Yes.
So there's also evidence to suggest that perhaps Trump himself wasn't in on any of this sort of stuff.
Yes.
But there's just a complete poop show. Like, what is happening here?
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next
It's
question.
my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Right.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700.
co-conspirator.
And
She's like, it was not red-handed. It was only one redaction out of
The most important redaction.
Yeah, out of 4,700. It's like, no, 4,700 ones that did not matter. There was one that we all wanted, and then you redacted.
Yeah, and there's so many people listed in these things, so it's not like it doesn't necessarily, just because you're in these files doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty. But if you're listed as a co-conspirator and you guys redact that and then you release it 40 minutes after you've been caught, that's not a good argument.
It's not. Yeah.
we invited you
Show the
in.
video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
all
you to
these
watch the
matters.
video.
So she starts personally attacking him.
Yeah.
Now maybe he does have Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe he is a failed politician. But what does that have to do with this?
Yeah.
None of that has to. This is the age old ad hominem in a debate. When you're losing and you have nothing else to say, you just start attacking people personally.
Yes. Crazy.
Please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
himself,
here.
there is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position?
Now, he's caught here because Epstein did traffic to other individuals.
Yeah. And there was information.
Yes.
Like we just.
Yeah. So
revealed it.
Cash is caught here too.
Yikes.
Or again, he's just dumb.
Yeah. Which.
He's just dumb and he's just in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. Either way, we got problems here.
As well.
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI.
The most generic number. It's going straight to voicemail or like.
Well, the thing is, they ended up having a bunch of victims stand up at one of these hearings, and they said, "How many of you guys are victims? How many of you guys?" And then they said, "How many of you guys have reached out to the FBI?" All of them put their hand up. How many of you guys have talked to the FBI? None of them put their hands up. So there are a ton of victims that want to talk to the FBI.
Shocker.
Right?
Yeah.
And apparently they're not. It's not the same.
Yeah, we created a super easy public line that anybody can access.
Right.
Where we can get millions of people calling it to troll it.
Yep.
So that we have an excuse not to actually weed through the important stuff.
Right.
Obviously. It's like the most obvious.
Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't-
bigger than
when you-
Watergate.
when I don't answer the question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades,
Right.
and you are responsible for this portion
And-
of it.
and that's
now,
where the
I want to
most
know
transparent-
at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deepfake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
So I don't know nothing about that. If he did that, that's weird. I don't know why he'd do that. That's stupid. However, again, what does that have to do with the question he just asked her? You guys had a co-conspirator. All of a sudden, you redact his name. Co-conspirator is not in the files that you were supposed to release that are redacted. When did you decide he wasn't a co-conspirator? Was there stuff that exonerated him?
Yeah.
When did your mind change on this, or the FBI's mind change on this? No answers. More personal attacks, which might be valid. Like, he might be a weirdo that's into deepfake. I don't know enough about Massey to speak with certainty. But again, the institutional decay.
Yeah.
And what you're going to see is a disillusionment on both the right and the left. I would say folks on the right, for the most part, seem to be sober that, like, yeah, everything is probably not as it seems.
Yeah.
Where folks on the left seems to still be a bit more gullible with regards to the stuff that was being passed by Biden and Obama and the transfery stuff and all the craziness.
True, yeah.
They seem to be a bit more gullible to trust the institutions and to trust everything, whereas the folks on the right seem to still be a bit more skeptical. But this is really bad. I think this is really bad for them.
Yep.
And speaking of really bad, Nick Fuentes caught a rare W. Okay? Caught a rare W and then got torched by his own audience for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have never seen nothing like this. People are saying it's his Latin side, his quarter Latin side that's finally speaking up. Now, again, turning point, folks, if you're watching this, just relax for a moment, okay? But this is him roasting the Turning Point halftime show and then getting dragged for kind of sounding like a lib a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I would say so.
All right.
Let's check
But that
it out.
doesn't mean it's not a good take.
Yeah.
What you want about the Bad Bunny thing, it feels like triumphant. They're celebrating their culture. They have actually an expansive, inspiring vision, objectively speaking. The photo is...
They're celebrating their culture. They have an expansive vision.
Yeah. This has always been the critique of the right, is that there is often a lack of vision. There's a lack of, like, great, like, we're going to conserve family values. And right, but where are we going?
Yeah.
Where the left is always progressing, but never preserving the good things.
Yeah.
They're just so open-minded their brain falls out.
Yep.
And the right tends to just, like, conserve. Okay, but what's the vision? Like, how do we make the world a better place? How do we usher in goodness and beauty and transcendence as followers of Jesus? We have those answers. It's the gospel. It's the sharing of the gospel. It's the transformation of the gospel. So him saying this is spot on. He goes on about the photo that love is more powerful than hate. I think that's what they played at the banner at the end of the show. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Love is more powerful than hate. That is an asinine thing to say. It contains nothing. There's no content. But it is something that is, you could say, is emotive, like it's sentimental.
I love him being charitable to the asinine banner. Yeah.
And this inclusive, expansive idea of, hey, we're all Americas are part of this thing. Like, that's actually uplifting in an objective way. Then you go to Turning Point Fest and it's like, oh, we can't be who we are because the left is picking on us. Oh, we're being oppressed because the left is mad. They're canceling us for saying men can't be women.
Pause it.
I love the dunk on the old conservative movement of, like, hanging on to the men can't be women bit, which was important for the time.
Yeah.
But it's funny that he's like, it's like dunking on it because it sounds like old news type of thing.
Well, people were legitimately getting canceled and losing jobs and opportunities.
That's like it was important, but it's funny that he's dunking on it because he's making it sound old and outdated and boring.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like, so I think this is the thing, is like when you're in your late 20s, this sounds like a long time ago. Yeah. When you're my age, like Jordan Peterson was not that long ago. Like Jordan Peterson lost his practice basically because he wouldn't get in line with the crazy stuff happening in Canada. Now, granted, that's Canada, but that stuff was here too. So it's funny from one standpoint, but yes, I would argue that the conversation has moved on. The tricky part is like, what is it moved on to? What are we concerned about now? And if it's more of the white identity politics on the right, and like the immigrants and the Jews and the blacks are taking their jobs, that's just as bad. It's just as much of a victim mentality that he's propagating, as far as I'm concerned. It's like it's the Jews, the blacks, and the immigrants that are taking your jobs. It's like, or nah. Like, or like you take inventory of how amazing it is to be an American in this space and time, all the opportunity afforded to you, and figure out a way. Like, figure out a way to make it work.
One is so hyper political and uninspired and sad and weak.
That's true. It does feel like that way. Like when you have to click into another one that's like hyper political, uninspired, and weak, and then Bad Bunny's like having fun, right? Like to his point, it's like it's asinine. And it's like, oh no, there's no hate greater than love, or I forget what it was. It's like lame and boring. But the aesthetic is like bright and uplifting, and they're in a dark room all wearing black and being like,
and I want to say Jordan Peterson's talked about this of like there is an avatar of the most creative types of minds tend to lean left.
That's fair,
right? And so I don't remember the pathology exactly for that, but that is a pattern. And so they're gonna be more progressive in their thinking, and so my advice to folks in these circles and the turning points and these right wing is like, you have to build bridges with people that are creative, that are like slightly right of center, but that are hyper creative, and try to foster those relationships early, before they get radicalized in Hollywood. Right? And because that's gonna be inevitable. Like, they're gonna go into the industry and whatever is going to happen, and then they're gonna feel ostracized and afraid to speak up.
You just need the really talented centrist that is willing to work on the set of The Chosen. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, sure, I'll do this Jesus movie. It's awesome.
And basically just like a bitch fast. And the other is like, no, we are the world. Like, our message isn't even political. Our message is just the way things are.
I like the aesthetic of the Super Bowl thing, like visually, like it looked cool, minus the twerking and the crazy, the guys dancing on each other and all that goofy stuff. But the shoulder pads were kind of goofy. Like,
the shoulder pads were kind of fire. No, because you're not going. You're not going to persuade me on this. No, because he was wearing a like a vintage NFL uniform.
Yeah, it didn't work when Drake did it on tour with the shoulder pads. It didn't work when Ye.
Yeah, but he's performing at the Super Bowl. It's not about being on tour in a random arena. I'm talking about you're doing the Super Bowl, and it's like he's playing along a little bit. He's wearing the costume. I was like, oh. I was like, what is he wearing? And I was like, oh, he's got like a 60 on it, and it's got a vintage like low shoulder pad vibe, and he got the gloves on, and it looked.
Yeah, the shoulder pads look goofy to me.
I don't know, it's odd.
And so I said it on Telegram, this is my honest prognosis. If we embrace that, whatever that was, the Kid Rock halftime show, we're cooked. It's just over. Okay, Kid Rock sucks. Nobody under the age of 40 knows a single Kid Rock song.
This is true.
Nobody is listening to Kid Rock. And anybody that is watching that is pretending to like it because they're spitefully sitting out and self-ghettoizing away from the real halftime show. And honestly, pretending to be offended. It's literally...
That's really... I wouldn't say pretend to be offended.
I think there are people that probably watched the Bad Bunny show with their families and saw girls with the tongues out and twerking that were legit like, why is this on TV?
No, I mean, that's what happened with us. We were watching it with some friends, and it got to that point. You know, our little kids are running around, and we're like, none of the guys here and the like our wives are sitting, like, no one wants to watch that. And so we're like, in the beginning it was cool. I said, oh, I love how much clothes everybody's wearing. And then I was like, oh, I spoke too soon.
I liked how much.
And it was cool. I liked the vibe. And then we switched it over, and we were like, should we just turn on the Turning Point one? And we're like, yeah, let's just check it out. And we're like, this sucks.
You know what's gonna be better than both the Turning Point and the Super Bowl?
Whoa.
The Bless God Fest. Have I told you about this?
The Bless God Fest is going to be schmacking.
Okay. We're gonna be doing our own event Saturday, March 7th. This is the finale night of the Bless God Summit. Outdoors at the amphitheater, really family friendly event. Myself hosting, Indie Tribe, KB, Ryan Horton doing some worship, and special guest Jake. Okay, so
Golden Hour.
Don't do that. Don't
Pretty
butcher
good.
the song.
Pretty good song. We'll let him do it.
I'm just gonna say it. This is gonna be objectively better than either show.
That's very true. That's very true. I agree with that.
All right, so you guys, we'll put the link below, RSVP, and come hang out with us. Blessed God Summit VIP tickets, I think, are almost sold out. We sold out, and then Tyler added like 5 tickets. We were gonna try to add 20.
Okay.
And then we have still some general admission tickets. So blessedgodsummit.com for the 3-day conference, and there's scholarships available. But this is just like a free event we're doing for the community. You guys can RSVP for this for free. It's an Eventbrite. We're just trying to get a head count of how many people are coming for like security purposes. But this is gonna be a fun event.
Fake outrage, self-ghettoizing, being overly political, pretending to like the things because of the values they purport to have. In other words, we have become the kind of far left in a certain sense. It's the same kind of behavior.
But I've been saying this about Nick for how long?
That's what I'm saying. I was like, that's the kettle calling the pot black. Like,
we've been saying this about the far right forever. You guys are so far right. You're basically leftists now.
Yeah,
you're like,
he'll go on the next stream and be like, "It's not your fault. It's the Jews.
It's
They
the Jews.
took everything
Stalin
from you."
was cool, right? Like communism's cool. Like it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
That I think alienated the normies from the left 10 years ago. And say what you want.
All right, so look at the comments. So the comments are the best part of this whole thing. Conservative outrage about Bunny. The
73,000 likes. Heartbreaking. The worst person you know just made a great point.
Is that supposed to be Tim Pool or who is that?
It looks like a mix of Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro.
Oh my gosh. His Latin blood was activated.
67,000 likes. Bro was visited by 3 ghosts. I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Bro's heart grew 3 sizes. 23,000 likes.
How bad is the world getting that Nick Fuentes made a point?
That's hilarious.
The Latino grabbed control for a minute. It's always weird to see a guy you generally disagree with explain a point you actually do agree with way better than you ever could. Rare, and I mean extremely rare, Nick Fuentes W. Oh, come on, Nick. Now you're just saying contrarian-ish to be provocative. Or he's always said contrarian-ish to be provocative.
I think it was like a tongue-in-cheek comment.
Oh, I see. I've literally never seen a more political independent standing point ever. Holy F. Yeah, so the comments is almost
Nick
like...
This is the heaviest coin flip I know. Someone said, is this AI?
Yeah, is this AI? So the point is, a lot of this is self-criticism. Like he's the same stuff he's accusing Turning Point of, he's done for years. 2, the deeper question is he trying to self-moderate? Is he trying to be more sensible and balanced in this approach? Or was this really his off-the-cuff take and he's trying to be comedic and whatever? Either way, I think there's a lot of kettle calling the pot black here.
100%.
That is hilarious to me. But listen, I'm here for it. And hopefully everybody takes inventory. I think the thing about, this is my thing, at least Turning Point is like sensible. Like at least Turning Point is like we're trying. The Super Bowl is like we don't give a crap. We're gonna do what we want, and if we want dudes twerking on each other while families are watching, we don't give a crap.
I didn't know it got that bad. Did it?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
So that's the sad part about the left is they're just gonna poke even harder. Like oh yeah, you want family values? Bah! You know what I mean? Whereas like at least folks on the right are gonna be like, all right, like. Okay, like, yeah, we should probably have a little more Jesus, a little less beer, a little less drinking and driving, you know what I mean? And kind of have a more family values, reflective on the next one, which I hope they do. I hope they nail this next time.
I agree.
Yeah. And all of this leads us to our next segment. You guys love this segment. Mega Church Shenanigans, but we can only say nice things. All right, big shout out to Crossroads Church. They put this together. This is some sort of preaching competition that they
Super Bowl situation thing they do. I just realized that there might be some copywritten music in this situation.
I don't know if we're gonna get this to pass, but basically they play DMX. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Okay. Up in here. And so this is a series we do where we just kind of we have fun with some of the stuff we see at mega churches.
This is great.
And
I have no problem with this.
And we only say positive things.
Yes.
That's the challenge. All right, turn it up. Yeah, so they're running out.
Okay.
They're running out. They're getting the crowd hype. And it sounds like the worship team is doing a cover of DMX's Hot in Here.
Oh, he's doing the boomer white guy dance. I love it. Okay, cool.
Their opponent for Team
Okay.
They did crisscross, cover crisscross, jump.
Okay. They're coming out a little bit of a younger demo for this group.
Oh, look at the dance though.
Oh, they got a dance. Okay, and so they have the Patriots team, they have the Seahawks team, preaching team, and they're hyping up the crowd. And I would say, what is Sunday service without a little bit of a WWE intro once a year? and this is a big gripe that Christians get, evangelicals get when they go on mission trips. They go across the country or across the world, and they land in a place and they try to rip culture and replace it with Western culture. And so I would say my argument for this would just be like, this is our culture. This is evangelism to the West.
Yeah, so this is what they call this was a Super Bowl of preaching sermon series.
All right.
Super Bowl of preaching sermon series. Listen, I am not familiar with the church. Play the rest of this.
Yeah.
I love the energy.
Yep.
And that worship band is fire too.
Yeah, a little live band, a little bit of like a.
They got the whole
That's my favorite part.
a spectacle of something. I think
that is awesome.
Okay,
that's awesome. I don't know, man. I'm here for it. I think this is pretty spectacular to say the least. To put together a preaching off thing, preaching off.
Looks like they had like
they had
Super
the
Bowl
background
stands in the LED wall, which is super epic.
The design, I don't know what they used to design this, but I think this is pretty amazing.
Stage design. We got like a football field here. We got people, people are excited to go to church here. And so, haters will say it's too much, but I still
haters will say it's too much.
Yeah. It's like, oh, why can't we go back to what the early church did? And it's like, because the early church didn't have moves like that.
Because the early church didn't have football.
Because the early church
didn't have beer.
Didn't have moves like Jagger, dude.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I shout out to Crossroads Church. I don't know. We should probably look up what Crossroads Church is. I don't know where they're at. But I do think that this sort of stuff is pretty fun, to say the least.
It's fun.
It's fun. So search the actual thing that they did so we know where it's at and what the event is. It's in Cincinnati. Look at that thumbnail. They took your thumbnail course, Zach.
They did. Look at, come on. They got some AI. They're definitely using like a Gemini situation.
They're killing it with the thumbnail packaging, bro.
Yeah, they're not playing around. So, should we watch another little promo reel for it?
Yes, please.
Okay, halftime show.
Oh, they're doing their own halftime show.
Hilarious commercials. Oh, okay.
All right.
Tons of fun. They're engaging the community.
Come on.
Of creatives. You're invited February 7th and 8th. Okay, service times at crossroads.net. See you there. Super Bowl of Preaching, 7th and 8th. It's a whole event. And let's see what February 7th and 8th
That was the night of the...
Okay, that was, yeah.
It's the weekend of the Super Bowl.
A weekend of the Super Bowl.
I like it, man. I'm here for it. They have two different teams.
Team Tome.
And Team Mingo.
Team Mingo. I
All right.
like it. Team Ranson and Patterson. Yeah, they went all out on the production of this. I would love to view some of the ads,
Just some of the fake commercials.
Yeah, some of the fake commercials. But and they have a lot of locations. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, they're definitely a big church.
They're crushing it. So, yeah, I don't know. All you people that are hating on a big church, what are you doing for the kingdom? doesn't seem like you small little churches know how to engage a large amount of people. Seems like you're just mad at this large church for having a special skill set. So I'll leave it at that. Super Bowl of Preaching, we'll put it in the hands of the talented Crossroads Church.
And that was another episode of Mega Church Shenanigans, but we could only say nice things. Okay, one of the cool things about what I get to do here is synthesizing ideas that I've lived through, and I got the privilege of doing that recently with my book, Godly Ambition, which a bunch of you guys have picked up, and I was tuning in to Keeping Up with the Perrys. Shout out my man Preston, Jackie Hill Perry, and they were talking to Christine Caine, and the exact concept from Godly Ambition came out, and so I'm super pumped that as this idea is getting out, it's starting to catch on with folks like Christine Caine, who is a massive author and speaker in her own right. Jackie O opens up about her tension with ministry and a conversation her and Preston were having. And then Christine speaks right into it, seemingly, and I'm not 100% certain, but seemingly almost verbatim pulling some of the concepts from my book, Godly Ambition. And I was like, man, that is so dope. So let's jump into this clip and we'll see we'll see where they go.
I think it was a couple of days ago, Preston came in the room and was like, how do you feel about ministry? And I was a little offended because I felt like, I was like, what you trying to say? I don't love ministry no more? And he was like, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just curious about, and his reasoning was, you used to be doing a lot more. You used to have these ideas and this vision and execute that. And I was like, yeah, I think for a long time, there was a level of ambition I had. But now it's become so costly that I've died to the ambition.
So she talks about her own grind and then her kind of scaling back. Him noticing that. Now, to be fair to Jackie, she also just came out with a diabetes diagnosis.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so she talked about how, she has diabetes. So that's also probably slowing down some of the ambition, whether it's selfish ambition or godly ambition.
Yeah.
That probably has slowed her down. But yeah, at one point, I mean, she's writing books, she's speaking, she's doing a conference, she's doing music. She has a lot going on, and that requires a degree, I would argue, of godly ambition.
Yeah.
She's saying that she's died to the ambition and is just kind of doing what she's graced for now.
But now it's become so costly that I've died to the ambition, where I only want to do the things that I know I'm graced and called and commissioned to do. And I think there's something good about that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think you should do that. Especially, like, I have a 3-month-old. Right. So I can't do all the things that I want to do. You have little kids. Right. Yeah. So we all have to be super intentional about these things that we're called, that we have a specific grace to do. Grace meaning you're gifted to do. It comes naturally to you. You don't have to force certain things. Right. Yes. Now, here's my favorite part. And they turned this into a reel and they said selfish ambition versus godly ambition, which I was like, yes. Yeah. Christine Caine leans into the very concepts from the book, even citing the exact passages, and taking her to the Greek, which we're going to go in the Greek in a second.
I would say it sounds like either she has read it or someone really close to her was talking about it with her that has read it. So it seems like it's cool. I think the book is getting in the circles.
Or has heard my talk on it, because I make almost the same exact points in my talk. Anyone that's seen me do the talk, that's the same exact talk that I'll be doing kind of sauced up at the Godly Ambition Tour, which I'm doing in the spring. I'll tell you guys more about that in a bit. So let's see how Christine ties this in.
I think that's part of the sanctification process. I would agree. I have a lot less ideas because I don't want to come up with ideas. I want to be faithful to what the Lord's called me to do. And Paul says, I mean, ambition is mentioned in the Bible, and most times he says, do nothing out of selfish ambition. And it's actually very sobering to go, whoa, how much of what in my early years was selfish ambition. Yeah. But he also 3 times is very strong about godly ambition. And, I make it my ambition to make the gospel known where, where it's not known. I don't want to build on another man's labors. And he goes on and you
read the Bible a lot, huh?
Oh yeah,
because you just spouting about it.
but when you look at what is selfish ambition and what is godly ambition, the line, and here's someone talking that I want to, I speak to people's purpose and destiny. I mean, that's what I'm known for. That's what I want to see people flourish. But I'm watching a generation in many ways destroy themselves because selfish ambition will take you out 100% of the time.
So let's look this up, because this is directly from the Godly Ambition book. So what she's getting at is there are 2 different words for ambition, right? My book is based on 1 Thessalonians 4:11, and make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. You should mind your own business with your own hands. So when she says there's 3 times that this word is used, this is a different word used for ambition. This word is philotimome. I always butcher it. That's what the Greek is. Now, let's go back and let's look at the selfish ambition that's forbidden in Scripture. Now, the interesting part is this word, do nothing out of selfish ambition. That's a different type of ambition. The actual Greek is different, right? And Paul uses it to put, as a precursor, he puts selfish here, right? So this word is
erithia.
Erithia. I would call this like the 50 Cent get rich or die trying type of ambition. By the way, shout out to the Logos Bible Software, partner of our channels. They are offering all you guys free 60-day trial of the software, and then it's like, I think, $10 a month after that. But so when you see selfish ambition, you only see it used one other time, those who are self-seeking, right? Those who are self-seeking. And then this is out of the passage here in Philippians, and then James also uses it. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and evil practice. So the same thing, aletheia. Now, the cool part is this type of ambition, the phileo. This is what the whole book's about, godly ambition. And this book is this word is translated as ambition, as goal, to make one's ambition. And when we look at the etymology of the word, we see that it's composed of two different words, philios and time, right? So this is, phileo is where we get brotherly love, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. So this is a type of ambition that doesn't place you at the center as the source. It actually places God at the center of the source, and it places others to make the most of our time, talent, and treasure, right? That's what the entire book is about. Now, if we scroll down here, we see that she says it's used 3 times. This is correct. This is exactly what I go over. It's used 3 times. Romans 15:20, it says, it has always been my ambition to preach the gospel where Christ was not known, so that I would not be building on someone else's foundation. 2 Corinthians 5:9, so we make it our goal to please him, whether we are at home in the body or away, right? The goal is to please God. The ambition is to please God. And 1 Thessalonians, make it the ambition to lead a quiet life. You should mind your own business and work with your own hands, just as we told you. The issue that we're having in society today, and we're having in the church today, is that ambition is either evil, and all ambition is evil, or ambition becomes everything. And you need to just make it your North Star to just hustle, grind, listen to David Goggins cussing you out, telling you could do better. And the reality is the scriptures present this third way, which is this godly ambition. And when we unlock what godly ambition actually is, we start seeing that it glues all of it together. It glues stewardship. It glues purpose. It glues calling. All of it is glued together. Let's let Christine kind of cook a little bit more, because she kind of gets onto stewardship here in a second.
Godly ambition is where you're flourishing. The truth is, this is not a downer. I'm hoping that I'm positive to people to go, oh, you don't even tap into life till you get into the godly ambition zone. And I would hope that people get into it younger rather than older.
That's right.
Some of that will just come with age.
That's right.
But social media is not helping, because what we're doing is scrolling through everyone else's life and then comparing. And Paul says, do not compare yourself amongst yourselves. That is not wise. So there's such a lack of wisdom in comparison and competition, because fruitfulness and flourishing and joy is found when you step into doing what the Lord actually has called you to do, whatever your field is. Right. And whether you have 1 talent or you have 5 talents, the joy of the Lord and flourishing in Christ is no different. But those of us that maybe, if the Lord's given us 5 talents, then we have a responsibility to make sure that we yield all the fruit. And that comes at great cost, because people will question your motives, and people will, a whole different thing. So then you have to get into a place, and that's where silence and solitude is crucial, because there's fewer and fewer people that will really understand that at many levels. And to stay faithful and go no matter what anyone thinks. So even as I get older, well, haven't you done enough? And haven't you? And I go, well, I don't know. Are you measuring that, or is the Lord? And it's Him that I'm going to stand before on Judgment Day and have to give an account.
That's right.
For every idle word.
That's right. The goal is to be faithful and not strive for fame. The goal is to be anchored in, hey, what is God's purpose for my life? And I talk about the difference between purpose, assignment, and calling. I also have a whole book about defeating distractions and how much social media absolutely zaps away contentment, which is the springboard for godly ambition. It's like, if you could first learn to be content, then you could start to develop yourself and lean into the things that God has for you. So I was pleasantly surprised to see Christine Caine talk about this. Again, I'm not sure if she's read the entire book, but props is due. Godly ambition, it's on sale. It's on the website. You can go to blessgod.co. You can get limited edition signed copies. I have one right here. This is a USA Time Today bestseller, which is another reason why I think she or someone in her circle probably got a copy of it, or heard a talk or something like that. And we have it on Amazon. I think it's like cheapest on Amazon. It's like $15 on Amazon. And also, I'm doing a whole tour this spring that I'm doing a talk on godly ambition, going deeper on the concepts. As I can't share it all in a video, but those of you guys that have seen and came to the book launch events last year are kind of familiar with some of these concepts, that exact breakdown of the Greek and the Hebrew. So yeah, I'm coming to a city near you: Dallas, Houston, Pittsburgh, Chicago, New York, DC, Los Angeles, Tampa area, Clearwater, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia. All these events coming up. You can check them all out at blessgod.co, or go to Ruslan KD to get all the information. So yeah, props to Jackie O'Perry and Christine Caine and Preston Perry for having the conversation. I'm pumped that more people are talking about the Godly Ambition book. And if you haven't gotten it yet, go pick it up. Like, for real, go pick it up, because it'll actually give you a framework to walk all of this out. And there's an Audible version of the book. And the exciting part is to see the book spread beyond just what I do on YouTube. We had immense support from you guys. That was really dope to launch it and make it a USA Today bestseller. But then the numbers have just been climbing. And when I got the last numbers back, I was like, whoa, like I didn't know so many of you guys have bought it. So thank you guys that have bought it, but it's encouraging to see it spread beyond what we're doing here. So anyway, yeah, props to Christine Caine and Jackie O'Perry and Preston for having that conversation. So anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts about this conversation around ambition. Let me know if you read the book. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Also, can't wait to see some of you guys in person at the Blessed God Summit happening March 5th, 6th, and 7th here in beautiful Oceanside, California. My man KB and Amin are coming out. Wes Huff is going to be there. Gavin Ortland, Mike Winger. We just confirmed Jake, who's also performing at our Blessed God Fest, the finale night that's open to the public. But he's also doing a panel with his brother, Zach Lawson, which is going to be amazing. Tickets are available for this right now, Blessed God Summit. Here's the deal. VIP tickets sold out. I think we added like 5 more to make sure we could still accommodate. VIP comes with meals and lunches and all that sort of stuff. So VIP is almost completely gone. We sold out and then we added a few more. So you can go blessedgodsummit.com, purchase tickets. General admission tickets are still available. If you scroll down and you really want to come, you're in Southern California, or you can get to Southern California, cover your own travel and hotel. You can apply for a scholarship. That's the whole lineup, by the way. This event's going to be incredible. Ninjas of Butterflies, Justin Early, Dustin Tavella. And thanks to our amazing sponsors, you can get a scholarship. That's right. You can scroll down under sponsorship, hit scholarship, and I think we're giving out another 30 tickets or so. This event will be at capacity, so get your tickets now. And we just added virtual tickets by the top button, little green button right here. If you hit the green button, you can get virtual tickets. If you can't come, you're like, bro, there's no way I can make it out of state. We got virtual tickets, live and replay ready virtual tickets that you can pick up. So hopefully you are going to be at the summit. I can't wait to see some of you guys. Let me know what you think about today's show. That is it. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. All right. Peace.